Okay, so here's a question you should ask yourself. Should I be training or should I be playing? Am I playing too much or am I training too much? So I heard that Karch Karai was actually one of the first people to start training. Well, he was one of the first people to play volleyball, to make volleyball big. But the culture back then was very different than it is now. Volleyball was just kind of in the up and coming. So guys were just kind of teaching themselves and just spending all day at the beach playing like 8+ hours a day, get there in the morning, leave at night, just hang out there all day. There's more money in volleyball at the time, so they're able to do it, but it was just play, 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 play. You work your way up these courts, especially in the sand, and you're just competing, right? But then Karch Karai starts training and getting like these practices together, um, and that kind of revolutionized the sport. So the question is, should I be training or should I be playing? It's like, okay, yeah, you need to be doing both. When you're playing, you're working on that competitiveness that you need to actually do well and perform in games. The problem is, and I see this all the time, is guys who actually want to make it in the AVP, they just play games all the time with other guys that play. And it's just like constantly just playing games. Um, and it's way too relaxed because there's no way you can simulate a game like atmosphere in just on a weekday, unless like back then, if you lost, you went home or you had to wait or drop down a court or whatever it is. There's just more on the line. Now volleyball's not nearly as big, so it's just kind of lose, doesn't really matter. Training actually helps you to focus on specific things and just really slow everything down to where you can think about certain things. So when I started training on the beach, my coach had me just pass free balls and just set just balls over and over again. So we just passed free balls, and I showed up to this training thinking like it's gonna be good training. And he has us passing free balls, and I'm thinking like, what the heck? Like I know how to do this. I've passed free balls my whole life. um, but if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have done as well as I did. Like just 15 minutes every day, pass free balls, set balls. And it was those things, like those repetitive, mundane, boring things that you do in training that really solidified a foundation for me to grow and play at an even higher level. Because you can only go as high as your foundation is wide. As strong as your foundation is. If your foundation is weak, you're not going to be able to go as high. You might for a little bit, but it's going to be shaky. So as I'm passing free balls and I'm getting better at this, I start to see how much better I can actually be at these things that I thought I was really good at. So you just, and this goes with anything, is keep doing the simple things that you think you already have down. Just keep doing it and you'll see how much more there is. And I'm even being convicted right now and as I'm saying this, which I wasn't planning on saying this much about this, of like me reading my Bible. It's like, yeah, I've read it all, I've done the thing, I know it, but and then I stop and I like, oh, I want to move on to bigger things, and it's like, no, it's like keep doing this. You can move on to bigger things, but you got to keep the foundation there. That's why training is so important. And it's like, yeah, games, like getting like competing is good. That's why I think playing in some CBAs is good to get some of that atmosphere. Uh, but it's really only in playing those tournament matches that you're going to get that experience. So you have to play in tournaments, playing with your friends at the park. It might be fun if you're like focusing on something, But training is where you're going to make the real gains, and you do that over and over again to where you don't have to think about it. And then when you're in the tournament, then you can deal with all those emotions. But hopefully, the stuff that you've done in training is a habit to where you don't have to think about it, and you can just be focused on maybe the opponent or strategy or other things. Okay, maybe entertaining the crowd. That's another topic, another video. So should you be training or playing? I think you should be training, and not too long. Like, I don't like training more than an hour and a half, because you're going to train well. Even if it's just for a little bit, you want to do as well as you possibly can. And even if I'm not doing well, I just stop. But maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? All right, let me know what you think. Should you be training or playing more, and which one do you do more?